There's a lie that almost everyone accepts without realizing it, that the winner is the one who works the hardest, the most honest, or the one who fights the most fairly. It seems like a nice idea, but you only need to observe the world for a few minutes to realize that reality works differently. While most people continue to compete for space, trying to prove their worth and responding to every provocation, there is a group of people who almost never engage in unnecessary conflicts. Curiously, these are precisely the people who accumulate influence, money, respect, and power over the years. This doesn't happen by chance, nor does it happen because they were born more intelligent. The difference lies in how they perceive the game, even before the first move is made. Machiavelli understood this dynamic centuries ago. Observing politics guided by reality, not ideals, he realized that those who remain standing for decades are rarely the strongest or the most admired. It is those who understand human nature better than others. While the crowd reacts impulsively, he calculates. While everyone seeks approval, he protects his position. While many believe that good intentions are enough, he knows that the end justifies the means, when those means, preparation, discipline, and long-term vision. It's not a matter of manipulating people, it's a matter of ceasing to be manipulated by them. Perhaps you've experienced this feeling before. You worked hard, did everything the right way, followed the rules, and yet you saw someone seemingly less competent surpass you. At times like these, frustration inevitably raises a question. Does the world truly reward merit? Or does it reward those who understand how people make decisions? The answer might be unsettling, but it can also be liberating. Because when you understand this mechanism, you stop wasting energy trying to win small battles and start building advantages that few can see. Throughout this video, you will discover why the most dangerous strategists almost never make a sound. Why they avoid competitions that most consider inevitable, how they transform time into power, reputation into protection, and discipline into an invisible weapon. You will understand why concepts such as virtù and fortuna, better to be feared than loved, avoid being hated, appearance of virtue, calculated use of force, own and loyal armies, decisions based on real human nature, and constant adaptability remain as relevant today as they were centuries ago. And when you see all this together, you will realize that silent strategists are not impossible to take down because they are luckier. They are difficult to take down because they have learned to build a life in which almost no one can predict their next move. If something inside you awakened while listening, don't ignore that feeling. This channel isn't about videos, it's about memories. Remember who you were before the fear, before the exhaustion, before the silence. Each new video here is a different reflection of your own soul, an invitation to understand what the world never taught you. The power you seek outside has always been within you. If you feel that this journey speaks to what lives silently within you, sign up now, not to follow yet another creator, but to reconnect with something the world tried to make you forget. Because here, every word was made to heal, each reflection to awaken, and each video serves as a reminder. You are not alone on the path back to yourself. Click on subscribe and turn the algorithm into a daily reminder of who you really are. There's a reason why so many spend their lives complaining about competition, while a few seem to navigate any market almost without resistance. Those who observe reality through Machiavelli's lens understand that politics guided by reality, not ideals, never promised equal conditions. It only revealed that the world rewards those who arrive prepared before the battle begins. People often repeat that they want fair competition, but they almost always do so because they haven't yet built a real advantage. It's comfortable to believe that everyone should start from the same point, but the results rarely obey this desire. The strategist doesn't waste time discussing fairness when they can invest energy in preparation. That's why the idea that the end justifies the means is often misunderstood. It doesn't mean acting without principles, but understanding that discipline and planning produce effects that seem unfair to those who only improvise. While many discuss rules, he studies behavior, strengthens his virtù and fortuna, develops decisions based on real human nature, and transforms small, repeated actions into an almost invisible advantage. Just observe an entrepreneur who spent 5 years studying sales, negotiation, and marketing before opening their company. When it grows rapidly, the latecomers call it luck. The same happens with investors who have read dozens of books like The Intelligent Investor, Poor Charlie's Almanac, and The Psychology of Money before investing their first real money. For those who arrive late, everything seems like a privilege. For those who have built the foundation, everything seems like a consequence. The true strategist understands that better to be feared than loved means conveying competence even before speaking, maintaining an appearance of virtue while practicing a calculated use of force only when necessary, always supported by their own loyal armies, constant adaptability, and the permanent care to avoid being hated. And when this preparation finally begins to produce visible results, a question arises that almost no one is prepared to answer. Why does the world reward some much more than others? There is a huge difference between those who try to win through sheer daily effort and those who learn to occupy a position that makes that effort much less. Machiavelli understood that politics guided by reality, not by ideals, doesn't revolve around what seems fair, but around how people, markets, and institutions distribute influence. That's why two professionals with the same talent can achieve completely different results. One sells hours of work, the other builds authority. One competes for clients, the other makes clients compete for their schedule. Outsiders often call this favoritism, when in reality they are observing someone who understood how to occupy a strategic space before others. The logic behind the end justifies the means also subtly appears here. The goal is not to win any dispute, but to choose a position where it is almost unnecessary to compete. Think of a company like Apple. It rarely competes solely on price because it has spent decades building brand, trust, and perceived value. Consumers don't just buy a device, they buy belonging, status, and experience. The same applies to a lawyer who becomes a reference in arbitration, a doctor recognized in a specialty, or a content creator who dominates a specific niche. They all cease to simply sell a service and come to represent a natural choice. This is the power of virtù and fortuna when combined with decisions based on real human nature, understanding that people follow perception long before analyzing facts. Therefore, the strategist preserves an appearance of virtue, uses a calculated use of force when needing to defend their position, strengthens their own loyal armies through trustworthy relationships, and practices constant adaptability, knowing that position is not a permanent prize, but an asset that needs to be protected daily. And just when someone believes they have found the ideal place, they discover that there is an even more powerful advantage, invisible to almost the entire crowd. Few things bother the masses more than watching someone reap extraordinary results without seeing the silent years that built that moment. Machiavelli already understood that politics guided by reality, not ideals, requires accepting an uncomfortable truth. What many call unfair advantage is often just extreme preparation, hidden from the eyes of those who never had enough discipline to walk the same path. It's easy to look at a millionaire entrepreneur and imagine that they had contacts, luck, or privileges, but almost no one sees the late nights studying negotiation, human psychology, leadership, finance, and communication, while others spent hours distracted by cheap entertainment. That's precisely where the end justifies the means takes on another meaning. investing years building capabilities before expecting any reward. Imagine two people starting a YouTube channel on the same day. One records any video, publishes it without a strategy, and hopes it goes viral. The other spends months studying retention, storytelling, SEO, thumbnails, algorithm behavior, persuasion, and audience analysis before even publishing their first videos. When growth finally happens, many will say they were lucky. It wasn't luck, it was accumulation. Similarly, investors who study balance sheets, entrepreneurs who understand consumer behavior, and leaders who practice communication daily seem to possess a natural talent, when in reality, they have built an advantage that few have had the patience to develop. This is the essence of virtu et fortuna, creating favorable circumstances through repeated actions over such a long period that chance begins to work in your favor. The strategist maintains an appearance of virtue, avoids displaying all their knowledge, makes calculated use of force only when the opportunity truly warrants it, strengthens their own loyal armies with equally disciplined people, makes decisions based on real human nature, and practices constant adaptability, because they know that true superiority never arises from isolated intelligence, but from the ability to keep learning when everyone else already believes they know enough. And while this silent preparation continues to happen behind the scenes, a curious scene begins to repeat itself before the eyes of any attentive observer. The majority always seems to arrive exactly when it is already too late. There's a recurring pattern in virtually every market, across all eras, and in almost every area of life. The crowd ignores an opportunity while it demands courage and work, but desperately rushes towards it the moment results begin to appear. Machiavelli saw this pattern because he understood that politics guided by reality, not ideals, has always revealed the same human nature. Few can endure the uncertainty of the beginning, but almost everyone wants to participate in the success once the risk has diminished. That's why so many claim a certain market is saturated when, in reality, they only decided to enter after thousands of people had the exact same idea. Think about social media. There was a time when creating videos for the internet seemed like a waste of time. After some turned it into big businesses, millions started doing the exact same thing, complaining about the competition they themselves helped create. The same happened with cryptocurrencies, artificial intelligence, e-commerce, and countless other sectors. While a few studied and experimented quietly, most watched with suspicion. When the results appeared, the complaints about difficulty, algorithms, prices, and competition began. The strategist understands that the end justifies the means when the chosen means is anticipation. He knows that virtue and fortune walk hand in hand only for those who accept enduring discomfort before applause. Therefore, he maintains an appearance of virtue, avoids unproductive discussions, uses a calculated use of force only when he perceives a real opportunity, strengthens his own loyal armies with people who see trends before the masses, makes decisions based on real human nature, and develops constant adaptability because he knows that what seems strange today will be exactly what everyone will try to copy tomorrow. And when the crowd finally realizes where the game is heading, there is an even more important question than simply arriving early. Is it worth competing for the same space that everyone has decided to occupy? The most costly mistake a person can make is believing that winning means running faster in the same direction everyone else has chosen. Machiavelli understood that politics guided by reality, not ideals, teaches exactly the opposite. Those who join a crowded queue unknowingly accept competing for crumbs, while entire opportunities remain abandoned in places few are curious to explore. Most feel safe following trends, repeating models, and copying popular strategies because it reduces the feeling of risk. However, this same choice eliminates almost any possibility of building a significant advantage. Observe companies that have dominated entire markets. They didn't win because they did exactly the same thing better. They won because they solved problems that almost no one else was trying to solve. The same happens with professionals. While thousands fight for generic jobs, some develop rare skills, learn little explored languages, master artificial intelligence, international arbitration, automation, data analysis, or consultative selling. Suddenly, they stop competing for space and become sought after. This is where the end justifies the means takes on a strategic interpretation. The objective was never to win a congested race, but to find a path where there is practically no traffic. This vision arises from the union of virtù, virtue, and fortuna, fortune, because luck often visits those who have had the courage to walk through territories ignored by the crowd. The strategist preserves an appearance of virtue, makes calculated use of force when the opportunity arises to consolidate their position, strengthens their own loyal armies by forming alliances that are difficult to replicate, makes decisions based on real human nature, and practices constant adaptability, knowing that markets change, technologies evolve, and advantages disappear when everyone starts to see them. The real question ceases to be how to beat my competitors and becomes how to make sure they can never compete on the same terms. And this change of perspective naturally leads to a decision that few have the courage to make even before the first battle begins. One of the greatest illusions is believing that the battle begins when the confrontation appears before your eyes. Machiavelli knew that at that moment, almost everything has already been decided long before. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, teaches that winners rarely engage in impromptu disputes. They spend weeks, months, or even years carefully choosing the terrain where their advantages will have the greatest impact and the weaknesses of their opponents will lose importance. It's like a game of chess where the experienced player seems to move only one piece when in fact they are already preparing the next 10 moves. Those who master this logic don't accept just any invitation to compete. Before responding, they ask, does this game favor my strengths or just feed the ego of the one who provoked me? Think of a small company trying to compete with giants on the lowest price. It will almost always be defeated. But if it decides to operate in a highly specialized niche, offering personalized service that large companies cannot deliver, it transforms an apparent disadvantage into a competitive advantage. The same applies to a professional. Instead of competing for hundreds of generic positions, they can become a specialist in a rare skill, becoming practically irreplaceable. This is precisely where the end justifies the means takes on a strategic meaning. Winning depends not only on competence, but on the intelligence to choose where that competence will be used. This is the true manifestation of virtù and fortuna, because luck seems to favor those who prepare the scenario before acting. The strategist maintains an appearance of virtue, uses a calculated use of force only when the environment favors their capabilities, strengthens their own loyal armies, makes decisions based on real human nature, and develops constant adaptability, understanding that changing terrain is not a sign of fear, but of intelligence. After all, those who fight every battle presented to them end up wasting too much energy winning wars that never needed to be fought. And when this perception matures, an even rarer skill emerges, learning that some disputes should be refused before they even begin. There's a trap that destroys more careers, companies, and reputations than a lack of talent, responding to every provocation as if every challenge needs to be accepted immediately. Machiavelli understood that politics guided by reality, not ideals, demands rare discipline because not every battle deserves a soldier, not every criticism deserves a response, and not every opportunity deserves a yes. Most believe that refusing a challenge demonstrates weakness, when in reality it is often the greatest sign of self-control. Those who master their own strategy understand that the opponent doesn't always want to win through competence. Often, they simply want to throw the other off the plan they were executing with precision. Just observe how many entrepreneurs abandon promising businesses to copy current trends. How many investors sell their assets out of fear caused by headlines, or how many content creators completely change their style because someone made a negative comment. In a few weeks, they stop following a solid strategy to chase after others' expectations. It is precisely this type of distraction that the strategist avoids. The end justifies the means doesn't mean accepting any path, but protecting one's focus against everything that seems urgent but isn't important. This stance strengthens virtù and fortuna, because those who remain consistent long enough end up accumulating invisible advantages that the impatient never achieve. Therefore, preserve an appearance of virtue, avoid unnecessary confrontations, use force in a calculated way only when victory produces real benefits. Strengthen your own loyal armies alongside people who share the same long-term vision, make decisions based on real human nature, and practice constant adaptability, never confusing adaptation with impulsiveness. True power lies not in proving you can win any dispute, but in deciding with absolute tranquility which games simply don't deserve your time. And when someone learns to say no intelligently, they begin to realize that there is an asset even more valuable than protecting their energy, building something that others want to copy but cannot reproduce. Almost everyone can copy an idea, a product, an advertisement, or even a business model. But very few can copy years of experience, accumulated mistakes, earned credibility, and the unique way of thinking that someone has developed along the way. Machiavelli understood that politics guided by reality, not by ideals, never rewards only those who create first, but mainly those who build something so profound that imitation becomes superficial. That's why so many spend their lives trying to discover the secret of winners, while ignoring precisely the part that cannot be seen. They copy the facade, but not the foundations. Look at what happens with successful companies. As soon as a product starts selling a lot, dozens of competitors emerge offering practically the same solution. Some manage to reproduce the design, others reduce the price, others even invest more in advertising. Still, few manage to replace those who have already built trust, community, authority, and a solid reputation over the years. The same happens with professionals. A resume can be copied, a strategy can be studied, but no one can quickly replicate the combination of knowledge, relationships, execution capacity, and emotional intelligence built by a disciplined individual. This is precisely why the end justifies the means takes on a different meaning here. The goal is not to create something easy to sell, but something extremely difficult to replace. This is the true union between virtù and fortuna, because luck usually favors those who invest in invisible assets, while most seek only immediate results. The strategist cultivates an appearance of virtue, uses a calculated use of force only to protect what took years to build, strengthens their own loyal armies by forming a network of competent and trustworthy people, makes decisions based on real human nature, and maintains constant adaptability because they know that knowledge ages, markets change, and technologies evolve, but character, reputation, and the ability to learn quickly remain advantages that are almost impossible to copy. And when these elements finally begin to work together, a form of power is born that does not depend on a single talent, but on the silent combination of various factors that time transforms into something practically unshakable. People often look for a single secret skill capable of transforming them into someone unbeatable. But Machiavelli saw that politics guided by reality, not ideals, works very differently. True advantage never arises from a single stroke of genius. It emerges from the sum of small victories, defeats, corrections, and lessons learned over years. Those who only observe the final result believe they are witnessing extraordinary talent, when, in reality, they are seeing the consequence of hundreds of seemingly ordinary decisions. Time teaches what no course can impart. Discipline keeps someone moving when motivation disappears. Reputation opens doors that no money can buy. And scars remind us exactly which mistakes should never be repeated. Think of a great surgeon, an experienced pilot, or a businessman who weathered economic crises without going bankrupt. What inspires confidence in these people is not just technical knowledge, but the number of difficult situations they faced without abandoning their principles. This is precisely where the end justifies the means reveals its deepest meaning. The right means are those that build a resilient character over time, because lasting results require equally lasting foundations. This is the fullest manifestation of virtu and fortuna, where preparation and opportunity cease to compete with each other and begin to walk side by side. The strategist maintains an appearance of virtue, employs a calculated use of force only when the situation truly demands firmness, continuously strengthens his own loyal armies, makes decisions based on real human nature, and develops constant adaptability, understanding that a leader's greatest asset is not never falling, but becoming impossible to overthrow, because each fall has added experience, prudence, and clarity. In the end, those who seem invincible were rarely born different. They simply remained steadfast long enough to transform time into an ally, discipline into habit, reputation into a shield, and scars into silent wisdom. If there's one idea that deserves to stay with you after this video, it's this. The world doesn't usually reward those who make the most noise, but those who build the most value. While many waste years trying to win arguments, prove they're right, or compete in fields chosen by others, true strategists work in silence, strengthening what no one else can see. They understand that Machiavelli never taught only about power. He taught about lucidity. He taught that politics guided by reality, not ideals, requires the courage to abandon illusions and see people as they truly are. That's precisely why principles like virtu and fortuna, better to be feared than loved, avoid being hated, appearance of virtue, calculated use of force, own and loyal armies, decisions based on real human nature, and constant adaptability continue to transcend centuries without losing relevance. They don't just describe leaders, they describe anyone who decides to take control of their own life. Now let's reflect honestly. In which battles are you still spending energy just to feed your ego? How many opportunities have passed you by because you were busy competing exactly where everyone else was competing? What would happen if, starting today, you began investing less in appearing competent and more in becoming truly indispensable? And in 5 years, which version of yourself will be waiting for the decisions you make in the coming weeks? Write your answer in the comments. I want to know which lesson most changed your perspective on strategy, power, and success. Also, share this video with someone who still believes that winning depends only on effort, because perhaps that person needs to hear exactly this message. And if you want to continue learning how to think several moves ahead of the majority, understand human nature without illusions, and apply Machiavelli's teachings to the modern world, subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss the next videos, where we'll continue exploring strategies that have spanned centuries and continue to separate those who merely react from those who truly control their own destiny.